Yo, what's up, jazz guitar friends? Larry Tamanini here with Jazz Guitar Under 5 Minutes. Just heard me playing through All the Things You Are. Even though that's one of my favorite songs ever written, I'm here today to just give you some pointers, tips, tricks, whatever you want to call it, on getting some new ideas for chord melodies, right? So you heard me play the 3 millionth version of All the Things You Are. Obviously, nobody's going to rewrite the Book of Harmony, right? But it's nice to have a layered approach when possible. You'll notice that I started out playing pretty much counterpoint, and then I played 3-note voicings, and then I kind of played, some other stuff. So let's talk about just what I did. Number one, a great thing that you can do when you're trying to play a chord melody is give yourself a little bit of an intro, right? It's really tough to start right on the one, and hey, these gigs are paying by the hour, so there's no need to be, brief. Have some time, explore the space, right? So I started out just playing a pretty simple intro, kind of one that I recycle a lot in the LT Jazz Guitar Library. And it was just a 2/5. Something like that. I like to play dominant chords here, and then you'll notice I played counterpoint, right? Real simple. Really a cool, sometimes you can get 2 notes in there, right? The D and the F. Kind of threw in a little turnaround here, right? Because I feel that's where the action's going to be in a song, right? And plus, that's where I'm making the shift anyway. So why not play towards that? So again, real quick, I'm just playing the thirds. Sometimes I'm giving a bunch of space. Sometimes I'm playing 2 notes, different octaves. And then here comes that change of pace, right? So I start off here with a nice voicing because, it's too hot outside to play the archtop guitar, and I feel like I have a bigger reach on my telly. I really like this sound too, but for the most part, I'm playing triads, right? Nothing crazy, pretty much just shell voicings, right? Root, flat 7th and 3rd there, right? Right? Right, so now I get to go to my bridge. Gonna use that part to sort of break things up. And you'll notice I played my low budget Johnny Smith voicings. Oops. And you can get that D sound in there, right? Totally breaks up the sound. I'm going from double stops, right? I'm going from, these 3-note shell voicings. Now I have some nice closed voicings, right? That are just real, add a nice layer to it. And you can do so many different things, If I could do this better, kind of like that one. And obviously you can kind of throw in a fill there. So I don't really do the Johnny Smith thing that much. I went right back to what I know. Something like closer to what I like to do, and just play a 2/5, and then just make the 5 chord a dominant. And then I kind of have this little double stop guy bringing me back. So now I get back to my A, and it's kind of fresh because right? Because I didn't play the first A like that. A lot of guitar players, when you're starting out, and even intermediate, even really, really advanced guitar players, we want to play our best stuff in that first A, right? So you're kind of giving your best idea, but then, if you don't have a whole lot after that, the song will fall flat. So if you can find a way to use your best stuff last, you have some big momentum going into your solo or whatever you're trying to do after you play the melody. So check it out, guitar friends. If you made it this far, let's talk about what we talked about, right? Chord melody. I don't always have to play a chord with the melody. I can play towards the turnarounds. I can layer it by playing a counterpoint. by playing shell voicings, you know, and you get some really cool sounds like that. You know, what if I played, you know, my E like I went up like that, right? Maybe I wouldn't do that because I need this third. You know, I could probably find a way though. There you go. Up top, an octave again. So much easier to kind of get that reach on a Telecaster. So again, so I'm going from counterpoint ideas, right? Then I'm going to shell voicings. Then I got your, you know, your open, low budget Johnny Smith, whatever you want to call it, you know, the whatever kind of ideas you want to have there. Really good to get that pedal note in there, and then you kind of can play around with a couple different ideas, you know, end up going back to the double stop kind of idea, and then you know you're playing the last A, but you can kind of play some more stuff, right? So there are 3 things you can do to help out your chord melodies. If you made it this far, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I really appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Bebop, stay cool out there.